Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to our live chat sessions, Monday night. I've been looking forward to this actually. um, yeah, we're getting used to this. We're getting used to chatting to people. And we're getting used to using this equipment, which is obviously going to be a big thing on Saturday because we plan to live stream Metal for Africa 2022 from Cape Town so that those of you who are unable to get to Cape Town or to Johannesburg, you can participate in Metal for Africa, doing our first live show in over 2 years, coming back after COVID. So, yeah, that's happening in Cape Town and in Johannesburg. And tonight I'm chatting with one of the bands performing on the Cape Town side. We've got with us here Mr. Sylus Winter from SWAZI. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing very well on yourself, Pat.
No, fantastic, eh? Fantastic. I think the state of readiness for getting back into the trenches. Like I've been feeling it for a while already, but obviously as the days get closer, yeah, it's more real. It's more real. Getting back to this thing we love.
Yeah, no, I've been anticipating it for months and months. I mean, I think we even started talking about it more than a year ago,
Yeah, dude.
and I think I even mentioned back then that I think that everyone who has experienced COVID as we have um, would be more hungry for the music scene more than anything.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And especially, I think that regardless of the Winterfest slash Summerfest name being torn into one annual event would make it even bigger.
Well, I hope so, hey? Because it's kind of our first time. Well, no, 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 that's not true. We actually did do a Metal for Africa up in Gauteng way back in 2010. But at that time, we did it more as like a touring festival. So like we did our Cape Town show, which at that time was still relatively new, um, and then we went up to Gauteng and we did what was the area? Honeydew. So that's like, yeah, I don't, my geography of Joburg's not so good, but I think that's on the west side. But it was pretty rad. And we actually had, at that festival, we had Rust from Botswana, who, believe it or not, are playing Johannesburg this festival as well. So that's
Yeah,
pretty
so
cool. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Like with the anticipation of coming back to live shows, yeah, I'm I'm hoping that there's like a fever pitch of hunger for people to come and take part.
I've even got a touch of the fever myself. I
Yeah,
mean, it's been about almost, well, it's actually been longer. 2019 was my last performance.
yeah. And the last time you've been to watch a performance,
I think I think it
probably
might have
around
been
the
the
same
same.
time.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. Well, I must say, it's been pretty cool. Just the last couple of say the last 2 months, seeing how the country's coming back to life from a nightlife point of view, and like the performing arts point of view, or let's be more specific, the headbanging point of view. um, I mean, it was what was the it was the end of July, um, where there were like three metal gigs in Cape Town area, like on the same night, and yeah, I was at one of those, but I couldn't be at all three. But I'd heard that actually all three were like actually pretty well supported, so that gave me a lot of faith that this coming weekend, yeah, it's a done deal.
And there was no ban on how many people could attend at that
No,
time.
no, no, no. Because, like, if we think about it, when we committed to doing this show that's coming up on Saturday, we were still actually under lockdown restrictions. So we were uncertain about like how far we could take it in terms of ticket sales and so on. Um, which, interestingly enough, like it's the first time we're actually doing pre-sold tickets. Like Metal for Africa's never bothered before.
Yeah,
But because of COVID, we kind of realized, all right, well, now is the time to get into that because if things should go worse, then at least we have a direct line of contact with the people who we know are committed. But then, yeah, like after a month of ticket sales, they lifted the restrictions altogether, and I'm
no,
not
well,
complaining.
I'm just glad that everybody gets to experience it now, like in full sway, with no restrictions.
Exactly, exactly,
Because
exactly.
it was always worrisome. Like just pre-COVID, I had been in charge of hosting the Marilyn Manson tribute show,
Yeah, yeah,
and we had gone on for about um, October, yeah, no, about 6 months
yeah, dude.
straight. And as time went on, we were going maybe 2, 3 times a week rehearsing, and I had to orchestrate the entire thing, and it was mind-numbingly tedious. I mean, as you know from
And then the whole thing.
putting together Metal for Africa.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I mean, like that's nothing compared to Metal for Africa. But you know what it is to put everything together.
yeah. And then to have the
Um,
carpet pulled out from under your feet.
yeah,
Yes,
in a
yes.
matter of 2 days.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh shit! Because your guys' tribute show was going to be right there and right then. Hey.
It was going to be on the 20. Well, actually, I think I might be exaggerating a little bit.
Yeah.
It was going to be on the 21st of March, and I think Cyril announced this whole
Yo.
lockdown thing officially on the 16th, I think.
Oh my
And
word.
then uh, Ramfest just made it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, we were part of that. Ramfest was actually yeah, it was the first Ramfest festival to be hosted in Cape Town since I believe 2014. Um, and yeah, it's under new curatorship. So different people running the festival. But what was kind of cool was they asked us back because Metal for Africa used to run the metal stage at Ramfest between 2010 and 2014. So the new owners came back and said, "Well, come and do this with us again." So it was kind of like the big comeback of Ram. And yo, it was like just days before the end of the world hit. So we were actually very blessed that we got to like slip that one through. But yeah, you guys unfortunately not so lucky, man. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no, but it was quite unfortunate because like as time went on, maybe about 9 months or so later, we were uh, reconsidering the whole idea. Like,
Yeah.
we put in all this effort,
And
why
money,
not
I'm
try
sure.
again?
Like,
You know?
like,
And so we did. I mean, like, I got more than half the people to agree to it again.
yeah.
And then the bugger goes and gets himself in trouble again with that whole Evan Rachel Wood thing and whatever. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna, don't need to go too much into that or whether or not he was guilty of said crimes or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But
But he's not
most of the
a
people,
but he's not an unlikely candidate.
no, not so much, no.
Yeah.
But
Shit.
I mean, just in my personal opinion, I believe that it's I don't sorry, I don't know if I could swear on here,
Yeah,
but
go for it. It's only
it's
YouTube.
fucking Marilyn Manson for
Yeah.
God's sake. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
like I'm not one to victim blame or anything of that
Yeah.
nature, but if you are ready to go on tour with Manson himself, you best prepare
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
get fucked up in every sense of the word.
Yeah, yeah. But I think
That's
this
that's all I
is
can say about that.
yeah.
But the majority of the people involved are like, I don't know if we should be supporting that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
How's that going to reflect on us?
But I think
Where
this
I
is a
understand that.
very awkward time that we find ourselves in to be rock and roll, to be alternative minded and all that kind of stuff. Like if we talk about things like cancel culture and wokeness and all that kind of stuff, like it's not that I specifically disagree with how do we say, like, the fact that there is a growing consciousness of what is right and what is wrong, and that these things are expressed and shared. But the part that baffles me a lot is how people expect that their role models should somehow be saints. And it's not only rock and roll, it's sports as well. If you think about how, like, you get these like sports stars who become disgraced because there's something that they've done in their lives which is horrendous. Yet yet the public expects that the people who they hold up as idols should be saintly. And I think that's a bit baffling. It's like that's an impossible expectation to have. you know,
Yeah.
like
I
like
mean,
the
like,
latest one is what Metallica, who like got a lot of attention with the Stranger Things, and
yeah, yeah,
now
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
now like this younger generation is questioning Metallica's integrity because they're a bunch of old guys who were once young and got up to some mischief. you know? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. But I like just to think about what Manson had gone through
hmm
before that. It must have been about a month before. Um, I'm not sure if you are aware. He booted out his bass player, like a longtime friend
hmm
and co-worker, by the name of Twiggy,
Oh yeah, yeah.
um, who was accused of sexual allegations from his former girlfriend, who was the vocalist for Jack of Jill and Scarling.
So what, you telling me
Um,
that Manson booted out Twiggy for bad behavior?
yeah, something that he
Hectic.
did about 20 years prior,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and she only just came out now, with the whole thing, with the whole
Yeah.
Me Too movement, or name your abuser
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah,
thing,
yeah.
which I totally get. I mean, like I've seen live footage of that kind of behavior going on, so like it's totally believable.
Yeah.
But then you got to ask yourself again, okay, did he do it just to save his own face, or what?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's tricky, hey? It's tricky. Like, I suppose a lot of people are not sure how to navigate these waters. I mean, I'm not sure we even know how. Like if someone comes back to us and says, "Oh, you brought up this topic and you said all the wrong things," like, what are we going to do about that? We we don't know. It's like,
Yeah,
you know,
but in
just by
essence,
waking up in the morning and opening your mouth, you're actually taking an incredible risk in this day and age.
about everything that you've just been talking about now, it doesn't really matter what we say or do, and especially in the rock and roll and metal industry,
Yeah,
it's all about. I mean, music is about free speech and expressing yourself or whatever,
yeah,
and metal, in my opinion, is more intense.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
so for a rock and roll artist or something to be bad mouthed or having the the community try and cancel them, it's kind of like this is what rock and roll is all about, you know.
Yeah, if you think about, they've been trying to cancel rock and roll since the beginning. It's like, it hasn't worked yet. But I suppose the stakes are higher these days because the entertainment industry has become actually so saturated. So like, yeah, it's higher stakes. Um, there's there's a there's a lot more hungry mouths trying to get at that pie, and the pie's only so big.
Yeah. And another thing which I should probably address is like, how many people these days are taking chances, especially those who are musicians, going
hmm
after other musicians who have a bigger name than they do just for the recognition.
Uh,
Like
yeah, yeah,
Machine Gun Kelly, for example, like he would like how he targeted what's his face, Eminem,
yeah,
failed,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
then quit rap, and then then went to metal, attacked Corey Taylor, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. What a scumbag.
I,
But
I
yeah,
mean,
I
I mean,
suppose people are gonna do what they got to do to like get their name in the papers, you know. Um,
yeah,
there's that saying that no publicity is bad publicity, but I'm not sure I agree with that point of view. You know, there's still like I get the idea of artistic integrity is one thing, but I believe that personal integrity is also a thing. Um, and yeah, one hopes to be able to keep both intact. But yeah, speaking of artistic things, yeah, like we've spent a good like 10 minutes talking about like worldly stuff. Let's come right back home and let's come down to um, what your current project is. But because yeah, I mean, those who don't know your face yet, I mean, Swazi's a new name on the scene, but you're not a new name on the scene. I mean, you've played on the Metal for Africa stage before, at least once that I know of with Strident.
Yeah, well, yeah, this event will be my third Metal of Africa performance. Well, the first one, as you just mentioned,
Yeah.
was with Strident at Winterfest 2012, and
Whoa,
my
that
last
far
one,
back already.
yeah,
That was
yeah,
still
no,
at the Klein Libertas at the old venue.
yes, it was, yes, it was.
Amazing. That's 10 years ago.
Wow,
Do
yeah,
you feel
and
old
to go
yet?
to, yeah, oh, I've got the pens already, but
Yeah.
yeah,
But I remember you did a show also at the current venue, which fortunately is still here post COVID.
yes, that one was the last performance that I mentioned in 2019, Winterfest 2019 with Kosha.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Yeah, so you've been on there with Strident, you've been on there with Koja, and now you're coming on stage with Swazi.
Yeah,
Tell
and
us
this will
about
be
this
my first.
project.
Yeah, well, yeah, this the specific first one will be my first Metal Africa actually. You could say fronting a band,
Yeah,
but it won't be my first rodeo as a frontman in general.
yeah.
Um, yeah, no, we began because you could say it was around about just as COVID was announced.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah, I
So
mean,
you're
like
not really like a lockdown band in the true sense of it. Like you preempted lockdown.
yeah, but like we had planned it beforehand, but we're not in a day and age now, especially with you know with our age,
Mm,
that we can form a band and play in our parents' garage
yeah,
every other day,
yeah.
because we've got so many other responsibilities and what have you. Um, so I, I I met up with my writing partner, name withheld, of course, because that's just how he likes to be known.
Yeah.
Or
Hey, a
not.
little bit of mystique is never a bad thing in rock and roll, hey? How many
Yeah,
people even know your real name?
yeah. That I mean, like, um, of course, like Silas is a stage persona and
Yeah.
whatever, but it's more of a it's not that I think differently of my birth given name. I mean,
Yeah,
like I use them both equally now. I mean,
yeah.
most people know me as Silas, but that's like I treat them
That's
equally.
courtesy of
You know?
Facebook and the bands you've played in already.
Yeah, exactly. So I
Yeah,
just well, I just keep it anyway.
yeah,
But yeah, anyway, so we got together. I think like the year before that, nothing was really gelling well. I mean, like we were coming up with the odd riffs here and there, and it kind of just like started feeling a bit forced in a way. Because like we were both like really overwhelmed in like the work aspect and whatever. Like we wanted to write, we wanted to make music, whatever. The goal was there, just
yeah,
nothing was
yeah.
following. And so I guess we took a bit of a break and whatever, and then the Manson thing was going on,
Yeah, I
and
suppose that
then
was quite a big distraction at the time.
yeah, no, like playing playing covers and whatever,
Mm,
that's easy enough.
yeah.
But then when COVID hits or whatever, this guy is like locked up in his apartment for the next 3 months
Your
doing,
writing partner now, hey?
yeah, well, both of us really,
Yeah,
but like he was like writing like musical aspects, like the instrumentals and whatever, and he came to me one day and he was like, kind of treated me like he was my number one fan in a sense,
uh,
and said, that band that he used to front called the Four Horsemen was like one of the best black metal that I've ever heard, and I would like to write something that is well suited for you and your voice. And
okay.
I felt like, okay,
How do you say
that's
no to that?
no, definitely not.
Yeah,
Especially when I could see what this guy was capable of.
yeah.
I mean, when I heard the first couple of drafts of material that he sent me, I was absolutely blown away. I mean, like, definitely an all-rounded musician, uh, and used to play in an orchestra, number, you know,
Yeah.
and like so many different backgrounds. I just felt like, why do we need a full lineup?
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, when we can write and produce everything ourselves.
Yeah.
And also in that time, he was also learning how to produce, you know,
Yeah.
to do mixing and all that stuff or whatever. And he's bloody good at it now. So sent me a few things. I was doing nothing but like writing the odd guitar riffs and what and lyrics here and there. And over the course of the next 2 months, it was just pouring and pouring and pouring, like that, like a floodgate of
Nice.
of that. I had writer's block that lasted nearly 10 years,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden everything just came crashing. And yeah, 18 songs later, you know, we've got ourselves a full album, and it's just about ready to be, you know, released.
Amazing.
And yeah, so like you recall, I showed you some stuff,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting stuff. Like it's yeah, like it's very dynamic. I would describe it. You know, because I mean, like when you were sending me some samples, it's like my first impression was like, oh, okay, cool. Like I've got the sum of this band. But then the next track comes and it's like, oh, wait, hold on. This is kind of flipped on its head a bit. And then going through the material, it's like, yeah, there's a lot more than meets the eye at like first take. So I'm interested to see how this translates into a live performance.
yeah, but like in terms of say genre, you know, like how we would be introduced or how one would be advertised. Like as you know, we are publicly known as a black metal band,
Yeah.
but even to metalheads in general, black metal is an acquired taste.
Yeah.
You
To
know,
say the
like
least.
yeah, like well, like a lot of the old stuff, like you know, most of them, or like the I guess you could say the cultural black metal
Yeah.
side, um, they would really enjoy like the stuff that was released only in demos in the 90s, you know, like
Yeah, yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
crappy
Yeah, it had
quality
to
and
have a
whatever.
certain aesthetic value or almost like disvalue.
Yeah, but as
Like it
I
had to
said,
be a
like
bit cruddy.
yeah, but as I said, like it's mostly considered acquired taste
Yeah, yeah,
to most metalheads. So that in which case that we've written various songs incorporating different styles, such as you know like classical orchestral symphonies, horror, rap,
yeah,
doom, gothic EBM, agrotech, and even punk elements. Because you see, we want everyone to enjoy it.
yeah, yeah.
So like, if you didn't enjoy the last song, you might just enjoy the next.
For sure,
When
for sure.
when we say Swazi has just released a new single, you won't know what to expect. You know, it may even be like a pop number. I don't even know what's going to come out.
Well, that's exciting, kind of like in a strange, naughty way. All
Yeah,
right,
but in
cool.
essence,
So,
yeah, but
so you would say that on a like a, what do we call it? Like a foundational level, you're you're fundamentally black metal, or at least you stem from black metal, yet you're dabbling anywhere that you have an appetite for.
exactly. I mean, like, I would write as to what comes natural at the time
Yeah, yeah,
because, you know, say 10 years ago or so, the majority of my lyrics would be based around you know things that I was feeling at the time, which would be mild anguish and
uh,
hatred, self-loathing, even,
yeah.
you know.
Basically, the
Um,
dark side of the force. Mhm.
exactly, you
Yeah,
know. I was actually just, you know, saying to my girlfriend earlier today that in my youth, you know, I was very like hate imbued, and like like fueled by anger, you know.
Yeah.
But in a way, it's kind of like what kept me going. Um, Kind of like a mask, I
Yeah. Yeah.
suppose.
Yeah.
But as I was saying, what I would write today isn't nearly what I would write back then. Like if you would see the lyrics of the material that we currently have, it's not so much evil or wanting to stick a sword into somebody else's gut.
Yeah.
It's more like acknowledgement,
Uh-huh.
you know, like talking about um, the world state of affairs just as it is,
Yeah. Yeah.
not as
Which
a
is which is
not
grim enough.
yeah,
In
yeah,
the
yeah,
scheme of things.
but not as a push, not
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
a fuck you to that
Yeah.
person,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of black metal in general is all about,
It's
serving the demon
yeah. Yeah. It's
or
very how do we say? It's very aggressive, like in that sense.
yeah.
Whereas you guys are what more introspective at this stage of your artistic lives.
Yeah, I like to think so.
Yeah.
I mean, and with regards to you know, guitar playing or whatever, like why it sounds how it does, when you listen to the album, is a lot of those like dark, intricate pieces. Like if I tried really hard to write them, it wouldn't really come all that naturally.
Yeah.
If I pick up my guitar right now, I will more than likely play something that sounds like a 1980s Iron Maiden riff. You
Cool.
know,
Yeah.
I mean, like that's just why I gel so well with striding because
Yeah.
I sort of like breathe power metal,
Yeah. Yeah.
in that way, you know. And you will also see aspects of like clean operatic vocals um, next to gut wrenches,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, I
that's why we
suppose
try
that's
to
what I
have that.
meant by like when you sent me that material, how like diverse it was in such a short space of time. Um, yeah, it's unusual. It's unusual to find something that straddles so many lanes in like such a short like span of minutes. So
Yeah,
I'm looking
not
forward
that
to
it's
this.
really not that it's really intentional to um, to really stand out
Yeah.
per se. It's more not not crowd pleasing either. I mean, yes, I am a performer. I want to do well and I want to give the crowd a good time.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's, say you're in a crowd of 50 people or so. Okay. The two guys standing next to each other aren't necessarily going to like the same thing to the same extent.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we could play one song and the one guy would be like, hey, this is cool. And the other guy would
Yes.
be like,
Yes.
eh, you know. And then the next song, the other guy will enjoy it a bit more,
Well, I
you know.
suppose that's the whole point of being an entertainer to start off with, is you want to please each member of the audience more or less equally.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, why are you up on stage? Just to be adored.
Yeah.
Well, for some
But then
people, that's
again,
enough, eh?
yeah, but then again, more importantly, when you've got an entire set of of every song that sounds like The Lost, and
Yeah,
then you
yeah,
start
yeah,
to
yeah.
get a bit,
It gets a bit mundane.
yeah. So that's why I say, like, when something new comes out, it's kind of exciting because you don't know what's going to come.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. In the context of Swazi.
Yeah. I mean, that's also how I kind of felt about Ghost, But
Yeah.
then it just like went all mainstream, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
really
True,
love
eh?
the guy as a writer.
Yeah. But they write like just catchy stuff always. So it's
Exactly.
like it's got hooks. So it almost doesn't matter what they do. It's always going to have people kind of like la-di-da kind of along with it. But I suppose when you find that winning formula, you're going to pursue it. So, yeah, maybe they had more, what do we call it? Maybe they were more authentic in their earlier days. But I still got time for Ghost.
Yeah, no, no, me too, most
they've they've
definitely.
they've made sure
I
of that.
still I still admire the guy as a musician
Yeah,
and as a basic human being, and that's just another example of not playing what people want to hear, because all their diehard fans from the beginning, they are displeased.
mm,
Sure, I may be kind of disappointed because I was really enjoying the older stuff, you know. But that just goes to show, as to what I was saying, that you are not necessarily the same person today than you were
yeah,
yesterday. You've
precisely.
already done that album. You've already done
Yeah,
that album.
yeah,
It's done.
yeah.
Move on. You know.
Yeah, but that's a fact of life. You know, we're all constantly evolving, growing, developing, hopefully maturing creatures on this planet. And I suppose this even ties in with some of these characters we were talking about before, like Manson and Co. It's like, like I'm sure everyone's done things in their past that they regret, or expressed things that is perhaps in today's context no longer relevant. And I'm speaking now from an artistic point of view. I mean, a lot of what you describe would drive you artistically as a younger man. I can wholeheartedly relate to. Whereas now it's like, you know, we've grown, we've moved, but there's a whole new generation around to write hateful, angry music.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
But it doesn't mean, just because the lyrics aren't angry, doesn't mean that you can't give it that like screechy flair to it.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Just because it sounds cool.
Because let's face it, also, like whatever we've lived through, for better or for worse, it has shaped us, and it remains to some extent a part of us. So, from an artistic point of view, some things don't really go away; they just maybe get put away until they're needed.
Yes, fair enough.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, it's only a couple more days until showtime. Um, so yeah, now we've heard a little bit about what the band is about, what people can expect from a like where it's coming from point of view, a little bit about what it might sound like. Um, I think the last thing I just want to chat to you about is with Metal for Africa itself. Um, like we've been through this lockdown period, we've been kind of cut off from our community, which for some people is kind of like our lifeblood. And I think when we were first chatting about this show almost a year ago, or even over a year ago, I forget the timeline, you were talking to me a bit about that, like not exactly in the words I would say now, but almost how this is our, it's our, it's more than a community to us. It's like a congregation almost. Uh, how are you feeling about seeing the prospect of seeing the kinds of people that you're going to be seeing again who you haven't seen in a really long time? What does this mean for you personally?
Well, I find it kind of exciting because, you know, a lot of the people will be coming from places like, Stellenbosch and
Yeah.
some squares, and even maybe even as far as George and
Yeah, dude.
whatever.
I'm actually checking ticket sales every night because I have to clear those transactions every time someone buys a ticket. And
Because
and I
every
can see
other,
where the people are actually coming from. It's amazing.
really,
Yeah,
jeez. Well, um, kind of like lost my train of thought here.
yeah. Sorry, I interrupted. I have a knack. But yeah, like the
Yeah,
feeling of everyone coming together. It's like a gathering. It's more than just a festival. It's like a gathering of
yeah,
a
no,
tribe.
I was just saying that, we will have gigs all around town every so often. Sure, we'll have like fairly decent turnouts or whatever. But when it comes to Metal for Africa, it's kind of like our Wacken.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And That's why everybody who is at least within driving distance, whether it be an hour or a 3 hour drive, they would make the journey just for that event.
Yeah.
Because in my experience, I've maybe gone to maybe 10 or 15.
Oh, you've been at a bunch. I know your
Yeah.
face very well.
And each time it is always packed.
Yeah.
And I said to you when we met up the last time that if we end up going ahead with this festival, it might even turn out to be the biggest one that we've ever faced. Merely
Well, let's.
because, yeah, we're all hoping for the same thing,
Yeah.
but merely because we've spent all this time over the past 3 years so bottled up, and I mean, yeah, those who have been able to make it to a show or two, since the release of lockdown, have been able to get some of that that
That,
tight
like,
tightness
yeah.
released. Um, However, someone like me who has not seen a performance or done one in the past 3 years, I personally feel like I'm going to unleash hell.
Good, man. But it's interesting
And
what you say earlier on about like how it's almost like our Wacken. But you know what they say about Wacken? Like part of Wacken's promotion thing is like um, this is the holy ground. It's like people make a pilgrimage to Wacken. I would
yeah,
love if we could achieve that status one day.
oh no, I see it all the time. I mean, it's only a matter of time until that happens because I'm seeing posts every day.
Yeah.
Is there a bus? Is there anyone going this way?
Yeah.
It's
So
just one of these
basically, we
days.
just got to keep on doing what we're doing. We must never stop.
Yeah. One of these days, someone's going to be like, like the zombie walk. It's going to be like, okay, meet up in this location and we'll
Yeah.
march.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, where? All right, man. Well, I'm going to just take a few moments to speak to whoever's watching about the festival coming up, Cape Town and Joburg. So, yeah, thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's been wonderful to get to know a little bit more about what's like behind this project because it's been, like we've seen your presence on social media. It's been very like, I won't say elusive, but like teasing, teasing, teasing. So, yeah, um, at least from my part, and I'm sure I'm not alone, there is a sense of anticipation and excitement for this. So, yeah, we're really looking forward to it. Thanks for coming and sharing with us tonight.
Thank you.
Aware. All right, my friend. I'm just going to say a few words to our people here before I sign off. But for you for the moment, cheers, and we'll see you on Saturday.
Just that.
Hell yeah. All right, my friends, there we go. Saturday, it's fast approaching. We're going to be having our festival in Cape Town and in Johannesburg. I was just chatting now with Sylus Winter from the band SWAZI, who's actually playing their first performance this Saturday in Cape Town. And they're playing at 6 o'clock, so don't be late. Oh, they're not even the first band. Doors open at 4, first band's on at 5, and we go right through till midnight. In Johannesburg, it's quite a similar time schedule. They also open at 4, I believe, but their first band will start at 4:30, and then they every hour on the hour. So yeah, tickets to each festival. It's the same price in both cities. That's 180 rand via METAL4AFRICA.com. You can buy them online. Ticket sales are only open until Wednesday night, though. However, both festivals you can buy tickets as walk-in. So yeah, you can buy at the door. It will be 200 rand there. And yeah, we hope to see you soon. Cheers for now.